Welcome to Learning React with me. Today we are going to see what is props.children in React. Before that, let me show you the code which was missing in my previous video, where we accessed every item of hobbies array and rendered it onto the DOM in a paragraph element using map function, and where we accessed the properties of a dummy object. With that in place, let's move to props.children. Sometimes we have a requirement where the component is most generic and doesn't know what content would be rendered by the child components inside it. So let's see that with an example here. Let me clear this code. So to demonstrate this, I have created a file called demo props.children, and here I have a dummy list of users, and each user is an object in this array, and each user has a property, ID and name. Inside the render method, I am iterating through every user and displaying the user name. Let's see how this is rendered onto the screen. Let's import demo props.children, and let me render it here. So this is how demo props.children looks on the browser. I have also created another component called card, and this component has a single div element which displays a sample text. And I have added a CSS file which contains the class to the div element in the card component. Let's see how this card component looks. Let's import it here. So this is how the sample card component looks. Now I want every user to appear in the similar way as we have the card component. And let's see how we do that. Inside, let me remove this extra card component. Inside the demo props.children, I'll import the card component, and instead of making username as paragraph, I'll enclose it with a card component. If you observe, we are not passing username as a property to this card element. Instead, we are enclosing it between the starting and closing tags of the card component. So now, how do we access this code inside the card component? Let me move to card.js and let's remove this sample text. So since this is a class component, I'm using this keyword and accessing props. So the props has a special property called children. What this does is anything that comes between the wrapper component, which is card in our case, will be rendered by this children property in the props object. So let me save this. Now we have demo props.children in the app component, and every user is enclosed in a card component and rendered in the card component using children, props.children. So this is how our users list looks, and every user is now coming from a card.js. Let's move to the actual browser and inspect elements. So this is our app component. Inside this we have our demo props.children component, and this has a h1 tag users, and below this we have the usernames which is rendered by the card component. So we used this container class in the card.css, if you remember. So each of this username is coming from a card component. So this is how we use this .props.children in a class component and it can be used in the same way even in the functional component. Props and we have a return statement. Let me just copy the same div tag from the class component and paste it here. Since this is a functional component, we don't need to use this keyword. Let me just comment this and see the output in browser. So we still see the same output. So this is how we use props.children in class and functional components. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to InterviewPro.